We're going to be reading this week in Deuteronomy chapter 6. So if you want to grab your Bible and head over there, we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to be reading this week. Jeff, I think the background looks pretty cool.
Yeah, there we go.
If you notice, the podcast studio is getting set up for some new work coming in 2023. And you're already beginning to see some benefits from that. So, but we need to finish up 2022. What do we got?
Two readings left.
Is it two left?
Two left.
Two readings left for this year. New Bible reading is coming. Hang in there. A couple of weeks, we'll be laying out that plan for 2023. But let's work in Deuteronomy 6. Now, I think most people, students of the Old Testament, are going to recognize this as the text where we typically talk about parents and kids and future generations serving the Lord.
Well, yeah, it's a huge chapter, right? I mean, it's the Jews call it the Shema because of verse 4. Jesus, when he was asked what's the greatest commandment, he quoted verse 4, but there's a lot more going on here than that.
So tell me what your thinking is when you chose this one for our zeal topic.
Yeah, the whole chapter is a great chapter. I think we can make some observations from throughout the chapter that relate to zeal. But the real heart of it was verses 4 through 9, where you do have what Jesus himself endorsed as the greatest commandment of all, to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. But then what flows out of that rest of that paragraph is the idea of constant conversation, particularly in the family. These words that command you, they will be on your heart, and so you teach them diligently to your children. And then gives us all these examples of when and where you're talking about them. But the idea is basically all the time that this love for the Lord, in particular, will show in how you talk with your family about all of the Lord's commands and teaching. Yeah,
so there's almost this twofold benefit as you talk, especially in your family, because not only is the instruction being done, but the passion for the law is being expressed in the doing of the teaching.
That's right. And I think part of it too, David, at the end of the day is, when we are zealous for something, we naturally talk about it a lot, right? We get that if it's football season, our favorite team.
A college student who comes home at Christmas with a new girlfriend or boyfriend.
Exactly. Oh yes. We talk about what's really important to us. And so frankly, I think, one of the ways of looking at this text that we're reading this week is that one of the great measures of our zeal for the Lord is how much do we talk about him to our closest family, but in general, I think we could expand that. And how well can we talk about him? Because obviously, I know you're a big baseball fan. You can talk at length about the Astros because that's important to you. And so we want to make sure that spiritually we can do the same thing about the Lord.
That's a really interesting idea to ponder individually, and that is, what is the atmosphere at our house?
Yeah.
What do we talk about all the time?
Yeah.
And what does that say about what matters to us? Because I think you're right. You don't have to go out every day and say, I need to be sure I talk to people about football.
Yeah, that's right.
Or I need to be sure I talk to people about.
It just happens naturally if it's important to you.
It happens naturally if it's if someone's into politics.
That's right.
You don't have to talk to them very long at a party before they're going to be heading down that road. And so it just seems to me that there ought to be this natural outflow from us, that in conversations, it's not forced, it's not pressed, it just comes out of us because of who we are and what we care about passionately.
That's right.
So, but then as we do that, there is this added blessing to our homes and our children, which will help future generations to continue to serve the Lord. I'd never thought about, in all of this year, how much zeal in our own house helps pass on that passion to our children.
Yeah, that's right.
So Deuteronomy 6, be pondering that. Ponder this idea of the atmosphere at your house. What do you guys talk about all the time? What is that teaching your children?